Thank you for joining us today for the virtual Sunday service with the Center for Creative Living. CCL, a charter of the Universal Church of the Master, has served and supported the spiritual needs of its community here in the Bay Area for over 20 years.
Good morning. Good morning. Can you please be seated? Good morning. This is a wonderful time of the year. We have so many holidays that all fall within the next 4 days with celebrating Halloween. And some people call all of these days All Saints Day, All Souls Day, Day of the Dead. There's so many days that all come together, and it's all doing the same thing. It's celebrating those who have gone on before us, and it all started years and years ago. So many of these celebrations have been going on longer than Christianity, longer than Judaism, and our wonderful Minister Ruth is going to be talking to us about that in just a little bit. But first of all, I want to ask if there's anybody who has anything they'd like to talk about or share with us this morning. Yes, Reverend Janet.
All righty, 2 things, and
come on to the podium.
Janet, podium. 2 big events are coming up in the fall. One is our annual Grief in the Holidays workshop, which will be via Zoom, and it's the 3rd Wednesday of November. And I will be giving Corky the flyers.
3rd November and...
Yeah. And then we also have, and it's going to be completely by Zoom. It's totally free, and it gives you skills for surviving the holiday season when you're in grief. And I'm also going to be speaking, I'm so happy, at CCL, talking about surviving stress in the holidays, and that will be on the 19th of November. So let us gather together and brainstorm how we can, in these very challenging times, get together. And this is our 40th year of doing Light of Lights.
Yay.
So it will be at Westminster Church, Westminster Pres Church, which is just around the corner, and it will be on the 13th of December, which is the 2nd Wednesday in December, and I hope you all come.
Great, thank you. Thank you so very much. Other things that are coming up is in December, the 2nd Sunday in December, CIG, Center for Infinite Growth, which is the Gary's Church, Tom and Mary Gary, they are going to be doing a service here. So it's going to be, we're letting other people come in that are UCM charters and do service. And so that's going to be on the 2nd of every month, the 2nd Sunday of every month. They are going to be here, and so I'm all excited about that. It feels really good. Yay. Now, next week, I hope you picked up a program here, because Corky's going to be talking about learning about past lives. Ooh. And for those of you who haven't ever gotten in touch with that spirituality of being able to see where you were and who you were and what you were doing in a previous incarnation, it's a wonderful, wonderful talk she's going to be doing. And I love the fact that in your program here, it says, what you have done in past lives may give you a new prescription to what motivates people and I love
behavior.
That. It's like, what motivates me?
Next week, find out. We'll all find out.
You will all find out. She's going to be talking about it.
Yeah, the past lives really were to why do you act a certain way? Well, it might be from a past life.
Yeah.
And so that it's interesting to investigate that.
Right.
And if you don't believe in past lives, that's okay too, because it might be a metaphor for something that's going on in your life this time.
Okay.
And,
yeah.
Well, that's a beautiful way to put it, Corky.
Oh, thank you. Yes. And you don't have to believe like we do to be healed from
getting in touch with the past life. And once you find out that you have been here before, it gives you new depth of understanding about who you truly are, of why you're scared of spiders, or why you refuse to look in the mirror. Why there's things that people do that they always say, why did I do that? And quite often it's from a previous incarnation.
Because you've been the victim and you've been the perpetrator and you've died in many different ways, and you know, boy, I mean, it's just, there's a plethora of possibilities for you to not have released energy that's still hanging on in your aura, in your, and you know, and we come in soul groups and so with other people too.
Okay, and Corky, are you going to talk any about your hypnosis?
Yep.
She needs to go to the mic.
Okay, you have to come to the mic. Gabrielle, don't go away. I'll be right with you. Okay, there you go.
Because we've all been victim, we've all been the perpetrator of different things, so it helps you understand the behavior of yourself and of people around you, and I think it makes it able so that it makes you able to forgive people, because you know how it feels to have killed somebody, to you know, be angry enough at somebody to do them harm, or to just yell at people, and that once you get in touch with that feeling, so, you know, it helps you understand and say, well, let's work on this, that you can, because forgiveness is really the end goal. Is, you know, it would be nice to live in a world where we didn't ever have to forgive people because they never did anything wrong, right? Yeah. Well, we can work toward that. You know, everybody has to have a goal. Anyway, but let's just work on us first, and then, you know, we can kind of ooze it out later. Thank you. See you next week.
And also, what I was talking about is she's opening up her hypnosis. Wonderful, wonderful service. And so if you're interested in having a hypnosis session with Corky, and I was reminded because Regina walked in and I went, I remember that. You're going to be doing some hypnosis sessions, so that feels really great.
Yeah, because it's going to be at Regina's shop.
It's going to be at Regina's shop, yeah.
Yeah. Come and get a haircut. Hypnosis and haircut.
Yeah, wait just a minute, Joan. Did I lose Gabrielle?
I don't know what I was doing. She hypnotized me.
Yeah. Oh, no. Okay, Joan, why don't you come on up?
Good service.
We're all going to put you in our prayers.
So I won't be here for walks. I'm having hip replacement surgery on the other hip on Wednesday or on Friday. So anyway, wish me luck. And
Good luck.
Yes, absolutely.
okay, past lives are incredibly important. They explain the inexplicable, is the way I put it. So if you have strange things coming into your life and you can't let go of them, and then you find out that it's a past life, the connection, it becomes easier to resolve. So I'm really excited about Corky's, not only her talk next week, which I hope to be on Zoom, depends on how lucid I am. No, I don't have to be lucid for that one.
You just have to activate it on your computer.
But not only that, I did have a session with Corky, and she has a wonderful, wonderful voice for leading you into a hypnosis event. So I wanted to talk about that. I also wanted to talk, because we're in the Halloween season and the holiday season and the season. I've been doing some dream therapy, and I don't know if any of you have done that ever, or I have not done it in forever, but I want to encourage you to ask for dreams and get resolutions on some things. I've had some remarkable dream experiences. The reason I wasn't here last Sunday is I had a high blood pressure event and feeling like I was going to fall down and throw up and, you know, all the rest of it. So that night when I was getting ready to go to bed, I said, you know, I walk 4,000 steps a day. I've lost 65 pounds, you know, and this is what I get. I'm going to fall down dead because of a heart attack. So that night I had a dream. And my ex-husband, who has passed away, was with me. And he said, do you have your ticket? And I said, no. and I'm busy, sorting papers. He said, well, you have to have your ticket. I said, well, I didn't even get the trip plan yet. How can I have my ticket? He said, well, if you don't have your ticket, you can't go. And then he left. So I got really clear that I'm not going to fall down dead of a heart attack anytime soon.
Good, we're glad to hear that.
Yeah.
You don't have a ticket, Hallelujah.
So it was such a remarkable experience, and then if you haven't played with that, I'll use the word play with that. If you haven't played with that for a while, you might want to play with it, and it will lead you into the hypnosis and the past life and the whole spiritual experience that we talk about, but a lot of times we forget about, in daily life. So this is strengthening your spiritual experience to play with dream therapy. So have a good week. I'll miss you all, and I'll wish you all good luck.
Thank you. Good luck to you.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Good luck to you, Joan.
Prayer. Gabrielle, are you still there?
No, she went up the steps.
Citrus broccoli limited.
Oh, darn. She wanted to say something. Okay, and somebody else had their hand up that they wanted to say something. James, it's so good to see you.
Oh,
and to have you here, all the way from Las Vegas.
And Portugal.
And Portugal, yes.
I just want to say, put on there. Here's a candle from Portugal I obtained while I was visiting some churches there, and
Great.
I just wanted to bring this as a light for world peace as we struggle in this world to maintain some peace. So here's to more peace.
More peace. Thank you so much. That's wonderful. Thank you so very much, James. And anybody else have anything they'd like to say? I have had a situation in my life that whenever you ever have something happens to somebody else, but it really triggers you. One of my foster kids, called him. His name is Joshua. He lives in Maryland, and he was going to pick up a woman from the airport who he was having a little bit of a let's say reintroduction. Her husband died last year, and so my Josh was excited about her coming to visit him, and he went to the airport, and when he picked her up, he was leaving the airport, and he got in an automobile accident and she died. And so he called me, and when there's something about having a grown man sob that just, and he called me, and he was still in the hospital. Well, not yet. He was in the ambulance when he called. And to say, Dottie, would you please pray for me? And I said, of course. And I told him. And this is something I think is so good for people to realize. You have all the time in the world when a friend needs you. And so I said, you can call night or day, because I'm here. I want you to know that I'm here for you. And he said, now that happened last Sunday. And so last time I talked to him yesterday, he said, that was the most profound thing anybody said to me, that they were there. And isn't that easy to say to somebody going through a major thing? Let them know that you're not going to not take their call. Let them know that they're important enough that you're going to be there for them. And so my week has been spent a lot helping him write a letter to the family. How do you write a letter to a family and say, I'm sorry I killed your mother? And that's the way he was feeling. And I said, you don't talk like that. You don't start a letter out saying, I'm sorry. You say, I really, I know your daughter, or I know your mother, or I know your grandmother, however you want to start. But let them know you know her before anything else. This is somebody he went to school with in 1971. That's a long time to know somebody. So for all of you, think about the friends you have. How many friends do you have when they call in the middle of the night or sometime that you can say, call me anytime? Use that as a healing. You don't realize how important that is until you're on the other side of that call. And I've had the same thing from people in jail. They're getting booked, and they call and say, Dottie, I don't know what I'm going to do. And I say, I'm here. I can't come see you, but I'm here. If they let you have phone privileges, give me a call. And it's real easy. It doesn't take much, but it gives them some type of a crutch to lean on. And be that for people. It really does help. Yes, April.
Dottie, it's not, in my opinion, it's not a crutch, it's a container.
Sounds perfect.
We're offering a container of love to hold them in when they're feeling so vulnerable.
Yeah, well, the reason I use the word crutch because quite often that's the only time they're going to utilize you.
True.
They're going to just, until they get back on their feet. And then you might not hear from them for 2 or 3 years. But that doesn't make any difference. That's what they need. They need the support.
Is he okay?
No,
Is he out of the hospital?
he's out of the hospital. He had broken ribs and something going on with his back. But he listens to me. I said, Josh, I don't want to be the only person you talk to. You need to talk to a therapist immediately.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, well, why? I said, don't ask the why. You wanted me to give you something. This is it. So when he called yesterday, he'd already talked to a therapist.
Nice.
And I said, how much did you argue with her? And he said, how do you know? I said, because that's your personality. I said, this is my dear friend who was a scientist for the NIH, National Institute of Health, and he just retired 3 months ago to start his life. So you just don't wait to start your life. Start your life now. Do the things you want to do now. Fit them in. Don't wait to do it. Everybody, you all have a chance to live your life. Okay? All right. Yes.
So,
Ruth, what have you got to say?
are you telling me to call? Damn. Dovetailing off on this is, my mom was in the hospital for 2 weeks. Her kidney function went down to 7%, had to have blood transfusions, now still has to have dialysis, all that stuff. But frankly, the scariest thing was she had nothing written down. 0. So if she had gone into a coma, who's in charge? Like, what if, we knew nothing. So I sent her a 5 wishes document. Yes. Because I'm like, Mama, please, sweet Jesus, have mercy. I can't swallow my own spit. Have mercy on your children. Please just fill that out. And it's really inexpensive. And there's a free one online. So, yeah. I just felt like I should mention that since we're talking about death and all that kind of stuff. Please fill it out.
And that includes, I believe, do you want to be cremated?
Right, it does.
Yeah.
How do you want to be there? What do I do with the body?
That's right.
Yep.
And then you need a will or a trust. What do we do with your money?
Yep. Assuming you have any. But, but it's true. And even some of your things, like what do you want?
Oh, that's easy. You put their name on the back of it or underneath it or inside it. I have so much fun doing that. My mother did that. And because she wanted to make sure that if somebody said, oh, Mom, I really like that, she'd say, put your name on it.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Now I get it.
Dottie, what did your mom put in her drawers? The little note?
All I ask of you is forever to remember me as loving you. And she had that saying in every drawer we opened up.
Isn't that sweet?
Yeah. That's really sweet. Anyway, 5 wishes. Fill it out, buckers.
Yes. Thank you. James, would you like to play just a little background music?
Sure.
While I,
Absolutely.
then you can just stay up there so you can do your presentation too. Please close your eyes and put your feet flat on the floor. During this time, when we're talking about the Day of the Dead, when we're talking about people making the transition, I want you to relax. I had a woman say to me yesterday, Dottie, I'm afraid I'm dying. And I said, don't be afraid, because that's something everybody does. Don't say to yourself, oh no, this might happen or that might happen. You're here to live this life, not die this life. Enjoy it. You see me limp around with a walker. I'm not getting ready to die. I'm ready to move more, see more things. Each one of you has a special day. Visualize it right now with your eyes closed. See yourself doing something special this week. Something special might be going trick-or-treating. Something special might be going to a play. Something special might be picking up the phone and calling a sweetheart when you were in the 10th grade. Whatever it is, it's just special. You deserve the speciality in life. And every day should be a new energy, a new beginning, a new way to look at the time on this planet. Visualize the planet in your mind's eye. It might be the redwoods. Feel their energy. It could be the ocean. Smell the surf. It could be children's laughter. Listen to that. Use your senses to experience this planet. And every time you worry about what's happening to somebody else, ask if you can help them. And if there's no way that right now you can help a different country, a different people, a different situation, just bless it and release it. Take a moment right now and release something that has been troubling you, bothering you. Visualize it. It could be your health, it could be your finances, it could be the place you live, it could be somebody in your life. But visualize that thing that has been bothering you and give it wings and let it go. Just think about it, bless it, give it wings, and let it go. And now bless yourself for being here, even though it's difficult sometimes. Know that you are the center of your universe. Don't allow other people to bring you down. You're worth living this life. Enjoy, laughter, harmony, and positive energy. And so it is. And when you're ready, just come back to the room. Take a nice deep breath. And open your eyes. Well, are you ready, wonderful singers and pianists, to do something real lovely for us?
Beautiful, Jane.
Yeah.
And beautiful, Dottie.
Thank you for your inspiration.
And you know all these people. We have Minister Brianna, we have James from Las Vegas, and Reverend Janet.
And we're going to invite you to sing along with us. This is a song that we've sung at Light of Lights for many years. And it's I light a candle for you, and I can't think of a more perfect time than to share this with what Renate is going to be sharing with us. This is dedicated to all of you. Broken-hearted and grieving, I light this candle for you. For the lost and all alone, I light this candle for you. I light this candle. I light this candle for you. For the hungry and the cold, I light this candle for you. For the deep night of the soul, I light this candle for you. I light this candle. I light this candle for you. For the promise of the rainbow, shining like the sun. For the healing and the giving that makes us all one. I light this candle. I light this candle for you. Enciendo, enciendo, enciendo una vela para ti. Enciendo, enciendo, enciendo una vela para ti. Encendemos, encendemos, encendemos una vela para ti. Encendemos, encendemos, encendemos una vela para ti. We light this candle. We light this candle for you.
Thank you so very much. That is wonderful. Thank you. Well, today's speaker is one of our new ministers, and she's going to be talking about Samhain, which is the beginning of what we call Halloween in the Celtic and mainly Irish beginnings of what the people were doing at that part of the world. And this has become a $3 billion holiday in the United States. And it has fought to become a holiday. Well, I don't know how many of you remember when you used to say trick or treat, and what it meant is that you could trick the people where you were, or you could treat them with doing something for them. That's how the word trick or treat started out. They were either going to trick you or treat you, and so kids would do a little dance or do a little poem, and then the people would give them something, and usually it was a penny, which was a lot of money in the late 1800s, or they would give them a piece of candy or something, and that's how it started here in the United States. But it started way before that. And look at what happened. Yes, Regina?
a few years back when the kids started knocking on the door for trick or treat, I said, okay, let me see your trick. And they just look at me wide-eyed. What do you mean? I said, well, whatever you can do, whether it's a handstand, a dance, pat your head and rub your tummy, just a trick. And they loved that whole idea of a trick, and then they could pick a treat.
Yeah, exactly. There you
I
go.
did that, and the kid asked me if I would pull his finger.
Oh, that's a trick.
Did he produce? But so many of the churches were against this thing that was devil worship. And they some of them still do. But it became just a fun time. And so much has grown from it. It's changed, and it's been delightful watching it change, and to be accepted, and the whole idea of witches and that type of thing. So I want to thank my friendly witch back here, Reverend April. Thank you so much for coming in with your hat on. And I'm so excited about listening to Ruth. So come on up here, babe. You can just sit right there and
Yeah, okay.
you got it.
Greetings and salutations, good morning, all that jazz. A really random thing, every time I see MIN dot, I don't think minister, I think minimum. And I'm like, I am minimum Ruth Renate. Wonderful. It's okay, right? Gotta start from somewhere. Okay. I think I am personally amused that I see a lot of the Mexican decorations, because that's the Day of the Dead, and they have a different there are similarities, of course, but they have some different traditions, with their ofrenda and all that. And do I know a whole bunch about it? No, but most of my knowledge is from the movie Coco. I'm just gonna be real right there.
And it's such a nice movie.
It's such an amazing movie.
I know, right? It's like so many tears. Okay, so I have my notes in 2 different spots on my phone because I am smart that way. Not really.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
Okay, so Samhain looks like Samhain, but it's pronounced Samhain. Okay, and for a while I pronounced it Sowen because they're like, oh, it's like the animal of the female pig, right? SOW. Well, that's only a word I ever read. Like, I'm not no farmer. Like, what is this? And so I was like, oh, so, like low. No, it's like cow and wow. I'm like, yeah. And it's generally considered, like this is like what's it called? Sorry, my brain. The Witch's New Year. Yep. Generally is considered the Witch's New Year now. Yes. And of course it's been Christianized, like everything. Whatever.
All Saints Day.
All Saints Day. But it's typically, it's a 3-day event. All right, so I'm going on the Irish bent of things because I'm more of an Irishy person, I guess you could say. That's what draws me the most. I mean, I'm a North European mutt, but the Irish end of things speaks to me the most. And I'm going to be drawing a lot of what I say from Laura O'Brien. She does Irish pagan schools, and she's an Irish woman, lives in Ireland, born in Ireland, like actual Irish, and is a priestess of the Morrigan. And it's so cute that her husband's a priest of the Dagda, which is really great because because Samhain is in a lot of Irish mythology and like the cattle raid of Cooley, and and Samhain features in this. And that's what makes it interesting, is because it's like the end of summer now. Nobody's going to be raiding anybody because everything was, I hear a tinny sound. I'm like, what the hell? Pardon me. I just lost my own track. Look at that.
It's the end of summer.
Yes, it is the end of summer.
Nobody's ravaging anybody.
Right. No, any of that stuff. And that's what was surprising, because they're like, we're gonna do it around Samhain time. But the Dagda and the Morrigan get together beforehand. And so it's a big part of, it's a big part of that story and in Irish mythology. I am not an expert, by the way. I am actually going to avoid saying some Irish words because I have forgotten how to pronounce them already, even though I try really hard, and I will practice pronouncing them, and then I'll go back and see it again. I'm like, oh, damn.
Yeah.
Okay, so, I know, right? So, of course, we all know it's part of remembering and honoring our dead. And this is also a season of harvest time. We're coming into the final harvest. We're coming into, it's time to cull the animals, so we can have meat for the winter. And part of honoring the dead was also to understand that, you know what, you might not survive the winter. Because, it's not like how we live here, right? Where it's really easy to survive the winter. But even then, I think it's interesting. It had just, when I was reviewing this stuff, it occurred to me that I remember reading during lockdown with COVID, there were only 3 deaths from the flu with children. Only 3 children died in the whole country from the flu. But
In Ireland?
No, in our country.
In our country?
Yeah, in the USA, yeah.
Only 3?
Only 3 children died from the flu during lockdown in 2020. The winter of 2020, only like 3 children that we know of, no statistics is perfect, died, right? But usually it's 200 or so that will die, right?
Right.
And I had no idea about those numbers until, COVID, and you start paying more attention to that stuff. Is that, who's this?
Spirit's calling.
Over there.
You have somebody.
It's definitely not me.
It's Sherry's maybe.
Sherry.
It's like an old princess.
Oh, it's over there.
The angels are calling.
The angels are calling.
I didn't see a rotary. Where was the rotary?
Sorry.
No, it's fine. Even though I didn't see the phone thing coming up, I'm like, is it me? And I'm like, but there's no indication. I'm like, wow, I'm done. Okay. Okay, so anyway. But speaking of dumb, it's actually a weird segue. So in Ireland, they still do the dumb supper, where they'll create a whole plate of food and have it out on a place for deceased family members, and that's what they called it, a dumb supper. I have no idea why.
Is it similar like maybe the origin of dumb waiter? Like for
No.
Probably
Good
not.
stretch, good stretch.
Dumb means that you cannot talk. So if you're dead, you can't speak.
Oh yeah, I knew that. That makes sense.
Yeah, they call it deaf and dumb.
Yeah.
Not because
Yeah.
you're stupid, but because you can't talk.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Okay. It's funny, if I'm reading an old book, and they they use the word that way, I know exactly what they're talking about. But then in this, anyway. So I'm drawing some of what I've from the book called Irish Witchcraft, and it's by Laura O'Brien. Okay, honoring the dead, it's a big deal. all right, I'm going to segue. I suddenly have a feeling like, okay, you know how we were talking about past lives? Well, but sometimes some of the issues that we have to do with not with our own lives, but with the lives of those who have gone before. We can inherit family trauma, you know, and not just from like having a broken family. I mean, you know, there's family trauma because, you know, hella dysfunction is a nice way to say it, but you can have family trauma because, like, you know, so like I was reading the book, It Didn't Start With You, and in this there's a story that it was this woman was always terrified of being incinerated, but it turned out that was something that happened to a family member in the past, and I think it was the grandma. But it makes sense because every, you know, when you're born, when a baby girl is born, you're born with all the eggs you'll ever have, right? And so that means that the egg that made you was not only in your mama, but was also in your grandma. So, but also in honoring, but we're talking about honoring the dead. We're not talking about, you know, disowning the dead, right? And it's really easy to forget that we have family strengths too. I mean, I got a lot of horrible, like, family, you know, like, oh, like, that's a whole, speaking of therapy. But I didn't just inherit the BS. There's also the strength and the resiliency and other aspects that you inherit. So you can honor the wisdom of your ancestors. And that's part of the point. And actually, on Tuesday at the UCM office, the headquarters, I am doing a tarot class to do a spread called the Wisdom of Your Ancestor spread that I just made up. And
Yes.
specifically so we can get wisdom, because it's so it's so easy to forget, especially if, you know, if you come from a family with some serious BS. It's even easier to forget that, you know, we got some good stuff too. So okay, Samhain.
And you've got 10 minutes.
I got 10 minutes. Wonderful. So it's interesting to me that back in ancient times, you know, in Ireland and other so I'm trying to very specifically say Irish because that's where I'm drawing from. I tried because the Celtic people, there are different kinds of Celtic peoples that are around the world and in North Europe, and I try to make sure I'm speaking accurately because you know, because I feel like that's what honors them, instead of like just erasing, you know, or appropriating. I feel like the way to like truly appreciate it, when like the Irish side of things calls to me, but I can't say I'm an Irish person, you know, because then that sounds like I'm from Ireland. Like, well, no, I'm not. I mean, and it's like, you know, so that's why I'm trying to like make sure I remember. I'm really more speaking towards the Irish thing.
But I really want to thank you, Renata, for
Yeah?
saying that, because it's so easy to appropriate.
Really?
It is so easy, and I have to watch that because I'm kind of a wannabe Mexican. I am not Mexican, but I love Dia de los Muertos, right? I love it. But what you're talking about is so powerful. We have to not appropriate it. and take it, but we honor it and respect it,
Yeah.
and also honor our own journey.
And that's also,
powerful.
it's also about the pronunciation that it's Samhain. I mean, like, if it's something I mean, it's easy now to like Google and like, how do you pronounce this word? But then when you find out and you decide you're not even going to bother to say it correctly, that's so disrespectful.
Yes.
Like that's not. It's Samhain. It's not Samhain. And then like, if that's how you read it the first time, you're reading it in a book, that's fine. But when you figure it out, you got to learn how to say it right. I mean.
And also, I'd like to add that Portugal had the evolution of the Portuguese language and the Spanish language comes from Celtic roots, and appropriations of Roman culture kind of drove into the evolution of English.
Okay, let's just all remember that the Romans, they conquered everywhere. They were up in Ireland, okay? That's how we got Saint Bridget instead of the goddess Bridget. It was like, my personal belief is that Saint Bridget was a real person who actually channeled the goddess Bridget, and that she really did perform the same miracles that Jesus did. But yeah, the Romans, they be everywhere. Snap. And there is cultural exchange, but cultural exchange is about mutual respect. Not just taking and then, you have a flag, to quote Eddie Izzard. Okay, so I think it's neat that the Irish mark the days from dusk to dusk. Like, how sunrise is the beginning of our day, and now we do midnight, that's the next day. I'm like, who comes up with this? I'm like, what? But we still we start our day at sunrise. That's how we think. But for them, the beginning of the day was evening, the twilight, right? It has the symbology of rest and rejuvenation, right? And doesn't that just make so much more sense? So for them, Samhain starts. And for me, all our Halloween festivities start in the evening, right? But that just makes so much sense to me, to start from a place of rest and rejuvenation, as opposed to, we gotta go do things. No, we're gonna rest first so we can do things. That just puts the whole, self-care, rest is not a reward thing right at front and center. Which I think is really important. And there's also an aspect of planning, because it's the end, it's harvest time. Remember, we don't have a harvest, right? We don't do all that kind of stuff, because we're not the farmers, we're not the ones out there doing those things. But the symbology of preparation is still there, especially when you think about how after that then there's Thanksgiving and then there's Christmas and you're like, oh God. So if you want a little modern bent for preparation, there it is. We should all go to Janet's class on how to stay sane.
That's right.
Okay, so but there's also that this is okay, so yeah. See, I had a cool way of saying it, and then I completely forgot the cool way of saying it. I'm just telling you. I only got a few hours sleep last night. I couldn't sleep. That's my excuse. I'm sticking to it because it's true. Okay. You know that there's always that trope, the thinning of the veil, and this is when all the scary monsters come out, and the this and the that. Well, the thinning of the veil thing, I feel like it is a liminal space. And while to some degree I'm like, you can be you can talk with the other world, with people on the other side, and do all that divination stuff at any time of the year. But collectively, this is when people are in a mind zone for it. They're in the head space for it, and the heart space for it, because Halloween, monsters, let's look at our fears. Let's honor our ancestors. These are some of the traditions and the scary things that come up, and this and that. And so it's like a collective thinning of the veil, where it's like everyone is suddenly given permission to have a funny little experience. So they were like, whoa, that was weird, man. So I do believe that there's that. And that's why I chose to have the class on Halloween. Or on Samhain. But Samhain lasts for 3 days. It's like the 3 last days of summer. It's like the end of summer. It's 3 days. And technically, October 31st is the eve of Samhain. But, it comes with the next day. So also one of the things, so I mentioned before the Dagda and the Morrigan, and how they would come and meet right at the river, and that was a yearly thing. And then some of the stories where Samhain plays a role in that with the timing and stuff. Part of the reason why I was in the head that story was also in my head is because it's a god and a goddess. And one of the things, I'm just going to quote Laura because she says it really well. The goddess may meet the god in his other world dwelling, or perhaps they may meet by a river in this world. For this is the time to clear the path for what may lie ahead.
Blessed be.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
Blessed be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think I'm just gonna leave it at that, because I don't think I can top that for a better conclusion at all, actually, come to think. But does anyone have any thoughts,
One long time ago during the pandemic, I did a little investigation into Irish culture, because surprise, surprise, I have some Irish roots. There was a song about the magic dance, about leprechauns and the fairy folklore, also about this idea of tricksters, and but the tricks are really for your own good. It's not. It's that we think that we're in this perception of that we're the all-powerful, that we know what's best for ourselves, but really we need to be looking for more messages of what's for our greater healing, for our greater love, for our greater empowerment. And I think what you're speaking about is really true. I think something else from a neuroscience perspective, when men spend more time with their grandmothers or their elderly folk, there's actually a neurochemical change that happens with our hormonal balance. We're less hormonal, less in spring it's a little different story, but in fall,
right? Everybody's like, oh, we're free, we're alive, Twitter painted.
So there's a collective calming down of the culture. So maybe there is an invitation for world peace, for more collective enjoyment together, for more harmony.
And that I think that tracks too with the celebration. With the whole final harvest, you have your food, you're preparing for the winter, you're storing everything because everybody wants everyone to survive, pretty much. I mean, there's always that one mofo nobody likes, but whatever. So but that I feel like that tracks.
Could you read that quote again, please?
The goddess may meet the god in his other world dwelling, or perhaps they may meet by a river in this world. For this is the time to clear the path for what may lie ahead.
Okay, great.
Thank you, Dad.
Oh, April.
Well, I just wanted to share a pondering as you were speaking that, so there was a time when this pure consciousness of this is the time the veil is thin, this is the time to do this beautiful work of loving our ancestors and appreciating them and help heal whatever needs to be healed to move on. And then the Christianity absconded the whole deal. And I think that's where the Halloween carving idea of scare away the whole scary part of Halloween, I'm wondering if that came from that. They saw these people doing something that was very spiritual, but they didn't understand, and they knew it was about spirits. So we have to scare the spirits away by carving the pumpkins and being afraid and doing all these things. It's just a curiosity of if that's how that came about. Because the pagans didn't do that kind of stuff.
I'm not sure, but somewhere in my memory, the thing, because I wasn't focusing on any of that Christian stuff. I wasn't reviewing any of that material. But one thing I do remember is that it used to be pumpkins, it used to be turnips.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Well, they were
but
also,
the whole idea
they were
of
a light.
scaring away the spirits.
But this was a light that they had. The turnip had a candle in it, so they could go from house to house. And
like my little Franken gnome.
Yes, exactly. And then it got bigger because turnips they had a bad year. I mean, it was seriously, it had to do with the agrarian, what was going on historically. And so they found that and also a pumpkin carries more light.
Right.
So it's about bringing in the light during a dark
Yeah.
time.
Oh, yeah.
What
Absolutely.
about the bonfires?
Oh, yeah, I didn't mention bonfires. It's a thing. I mean, this is technically a fire festival. That's what they call. They have 4 fire festivals. They do but I just didn't, because.
Well, that's a time to get together. That's a time to bring in the warmth. There's a lot of reasons in different cultures where bonfires are very, very important. But mainly, it's a bringing together of people. You know, you're storing things for the winter. You're getting together. People would come to the bonfire and bring food to share with each other. To put it aside. There was a communal. And you needed a bonfire to be able to see. Remember, you didn't have any electricity at that point in time.
And you had the household fires, like over here, they're like with the kindling of the new flame spreading across the land from sacred site to sacred site. Thoughts could turn to the New Year cycle. So anyway,
and
but yeah,
we're going to have to
flames
pass
and
the
everything.
basket.
Okay.
Because they were.
Thank you.
You're
Okay. Do I have somebody volunteer to pass the basket? I looked over there and caught that witch out of the corner of my eye and thought, well, there she is. But I don't think that's going to work. We want to thank you so very much. And please pick up candy as you're leaving. So you have some that you can take home and eat, or you can pass on for Halloween, because we're going to have little people come knocking at our door. And are you going to do a closing song for us?
Well, as he is passing the basket, I would love to just invite us to do a little thing that just came to me right now. Take up your wings and fly over your landscape of love. Take up your wings and fly over your landscape of love. Oh, take up your wings and fly over your landscape of love. Take up your wings and fly over your landscape of love.
And Gabrielle, did you have something you wanted to say?
Yes, we were looking for you.
We were looking for you. We were calling Gabrielle.
Don't forget, Thanksgiving Day is here. It's a big old potluck from noon to 3. And then we're going to do Christmas Eve Day right after service. Again, it's a potluck, but there'll be food here. And then New Year's Eve Day, the same thing. It'll be Sunday from noon to 3.
So we're going to be having people, those celebrations are truly going to be celebrations, and we'd like you all to join us. For New Year's, I'm going to be doing predictions for 2024.
Yay.
And so we'll be doing that. And please join. Don't be alone for these holidays. you know, even Halloween, go next door and say hi to your neighbor and take some candy to take over. So you can do something like that. Okay, yes.
So James has made up an amazing song.
Okay.
And we would love to sing it for you.
Yes,
I was doing a sneaky, tricky preview during the meditation.
Okay, here we go. Sneaky, tricky preview. Perfect for day, right? Yeah.
So I'll do one chord through and then we'll. Glory comes to the humble-hearted in divine, mysterious ways. Glory comes to the humble-hearted in divine, mysterious ways. Glory comes to the humble-hearted in divine, mysterious ways. Glory comes to the humble-hearted in divine, mysterious ways.
Well, thank you.
All the way from Portugal.
Yay, all the way from Portugal. Thank you so very much. And thank you. And I didn't do the blessing on the basket. I am so bad at that. So
Shall we do it?
Yes, let's do it. And let's, yeah.
Giving to the ministry, from which I receive my spiritual support and nurturing, is an affirmation of the truth. The Spirit is the prospering power, enriching every area of my life.
Yay! Thank you so much. And please have a wonderful and safe Halloween. And for those of you who weren't raised Irish, or don't know too much about it, you can read up on what Halloween is all about and how it got started. And Ed, who do we have on the Zoom?
Donna and Kevin.
Hi, Donna, Kevin.
Yeah.
Be well. Be well.
Be well.
Donna Christensen.
Be well.
Yay, Donna!
Ed F. as an attendee.
Yay!
And Jeannie Lyons.
Yay,
Yay.
Jane.
Be well.
Be well. Be well.
Okay, thank you. And Laura O.
Hey.
Yay.
Thank you for showing up.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ed. Let's give Ed a round of applause.
Yay.
Yeah, thank you, and thank you, surprise guest. It was so great to have you here, James. Yay! All the way
Thanks for
from
having me.
James. Gentlemen, it's great having you all the way from Las Vegas. We really do appreciate that, and thank you to all the people, and thank you to Minister Ruth Renate Davidson. And thank you, Angel, for helping us this morning.
I want to apologize for the phone call. I'm mute. You're pretty good about turning my phone off.
It's fine, and thank you, Corky, for all your help and all your energy. Love it. Okay, and thank you also, Reverend Joan, for coming up and telling us what's going on with you.
Yes.
And we'll be putting you in our prayers continually.
Friday.
Friday.
That's right, Friday.
Yeah,
Joni, what time?
and thank you.
I don't know.
You
No, she doesn't know yet. Thank you so very much. Please take chocolate home with you from the basket back there, so Dottie doesn't have to eat it all, okay? Thank you so much. There's coffee in the kitchen.
Yeah, do you mind storing it still, or?
Coffee in the kitchen.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I have no plans to use